had changed, and that was because I wanted to give you a subliminal to I'm going live tonight. So keep an eye on the banner, and I'll swap it back to the original one. But now and then when I am going live, I will chuck it up. But I am going to chuck a schedule up so that you guys will know when I am going live. So those of you who are new, who are joining, welcome. I hope those of you who are in America and London, I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. And those of you who are new, we're going to do an update onto the energy. We're also going to have a chat about some of the readings that are out there on YouTube. Not so much who's doing the readings or anything like that. Hi Libra, but more the energies and, you know, the frequencies of what we're getting as downloads. It's cold. Yeah, it's been kind of strange weather, up and down really. How have we all been? Have we been looking after ourselves? I'm usually on here a lot more, but I am trying to, I've got one more video and I'll have the videos for each element for love. And I am changing the new format as of December so that I can do Soulmate and twin flame readings for each month, and that way you can look at that aspect and I can connect the dots in there. Happy birthday. To my belief, but if you have an issue, just inbox me. This week I'm going to try and, I've set a set price on the amount for what the postage is. That's because usually to get a kilo to America, it can cost me up to $90. But I've set it at a target, regardless at the moment, till I can get a new freight company, because I have not been impressed. Hello again. Anyway, let's get into what is going on. Those of you who don't know, I usually put up specials, and ongoingly now I'm going to make it a given that each month we are going to be giving away 2 free readings a month, and that can be at a random time. Might feel super generous on this occasion. I have actually given away 4. Hi Giggle, did you enjoy your brekkie? And that way, you know, I'll answer questions at the very end. So if you do stay tuned through the whole reading, then you can ask 1 or 2 questions, you know, and I'll do my best to answer them. As well as I will be giving 2 free readings away a month. Around Christmas, no, I won't. That's because I want to go on holiday. But I will be available regardless. There is a special on for October. Now, obviously, because I'm in Australia, I do, inside the information box, put how much roughly it is in USD. That's so you guys don't get confused. I also do emergency bookings as well. So save the queue. And make sure you book for Christmas and January, because it is filling up. I have put a discount there so that you can book it ahead of time to save in case you are wanting one before or after Christmas. Otherwise, you will get left behind. Now, I'm going to do an energy update connected to the 2 energies. I am finding, connected to the downloads I've been having as well as the frequency, I have started putting on Twitter the frequency of masculine and feminine. I've created thumbnails so you guys can get a regular daily update as to what the frequency is. Obviously, if I could, I would be on here every single day, which in the future that is a possibility. But at the moment, connected to frequency for feminine and masculine, I have added it, as well as any updates I need to do. I will be doing it on there. When I can, I may be pulling daily energies on Facebook connected to the journey of what the energies are coming through, and everything else will be on here. Now, the energies have swapped to a point where the feminines are within the masculine energy. Now, a lot of you guys are getting very disheartened connected to looking at other videos. Now, especially particular zodiac signs, when you're looking at the zodiac sign and you're hearing your twins coming or your loved ones coming, and that's in any zodiac sign, many of the feminine frequencies are becoming very disheartened and very cross. Now, it's very hard as a reader to stop your emotions. You can't change the fact that you're feeling a particular way. However, what I can say is, from a psychic's perspective, when you're seeing something at a 3D level, which is over the board, it's not one reader, it's many readers, and they're saying similar things. Don't get triggered by that. Take it as a given. Manifestation happens on many levels. It doesn't just happen at one singular level. It happens at an intuitive, at a realization, at a ability for that to alchemize and to move forward. You see the intent through the reading. Now, even when I give readings to clients, I try and key point things that's popping out at the reading at me. It can be dates through things that are happening within the reading that will give you an aha moment that, okay, that clock has started. Try and listen to the readings very carefully, because there can be signs inside that reading. Sometimes multiple energies will come through, especially if you have rising signs that are similar. So a lot of the times, if you are one zodiac sign and your twin is another, that could very well be your rising sign. So when you're physically listening to that zodiac sign, you could get very triggered where the energy feels directly on the opposite, when in theory it's actually your energy, not theirs, because as twins, your energy will bounce back and forward. So be cautious as to the energy you think is directly relating to you. Otherwise, get a personal reading that is going to directly show you the energy of what's going on. Now, the frequency of masculine for you guys, you know, in America, tomorrow will be at about a 3 and a 4. And that's because they're really meditating inside their minds at the moment. And they can see at a 3D level that some things need to change for them personally in their life. Now, at a 5D level, they're finding it complicated to see between, you know, the bigger picture and what is happening in the 3D. Like, it's just not meshing. It's not matching in their mind. And they're feeling very triggered and confused as to how to bring that all together. It can feel very overwhelming. Now, at the moment, even tonight, it's very quiet. And we're at the 7th. Moving into the 9th, where the full moon is, you're going to find with the new moon, the energy can be very intense, especially since being retrograde with Venus, it can feel intensified. Now, many feminines are feeling more an energy of, you're not feeling terrible, but you're not feeling super motivated either. And, you know, the disheartened energy connected to the twin flame journey, especially the length, is triggering some. Now, the reason it's triggering is because you're seeing the old frequency of what it used to be, and you're marking it against the benchmark of what it was previously. But because you can't see, even if you're directly in front of them, you can't see inside the process of what's going on. You need to refer back to your journey of what you've been through and what the process was for you to physically go through those cycles. It could have been leaving friends behind, transferring your energy, stepping into your power, sometimes leaving jobs, losing homes, having to really own a factor, even if it didn't completely make sense, to a point that you were stepping into your truth within your life. At times, it could have been really financial disruptions, conflict with family members. So bear in mind that although your journey may be very long, the process is very close to their personal transformation. And it isn't just for you as a whole for the connection. You know, if that's what you're choosing to move towards, it still is this person's personal progress and transformation that it's at the heart at the moment. A lot of them are dealing with the conflict directly connected to family members. There is financial related issues going on, and a sense that their power has been taken from them. Hello, Joyce. I'm not trying to be rude, I'm just tuning. So the personal energies of how they're feeling can be very, very fearful, as well as ebbing and flowing between fear and anger and aggression. What they're showing you is, you know, a front, but inside what's going on is very different. Now, you guys may feel very energetic, and then by the evening, it can peak to a point where an emotional stir can come through. That frequency, you need to understand, is not physically your frequency. A lot of feminines that have done their personal work, so to speak, They're feeling grounded within their own frequency, and really this thing is coming in out of nowhere. And when it is coming in, you need to pay attention to the energy you're feeling. That energy is a direct message to you of what is transpiring. So it's a bit like I was explaining to a lady last night I had a reading with. Think of yourself as a transformer. You are receiving downloads on a daily level, on an hourly level. You can be walking through your day and it can feel incredibly normal, and then a wave of emotion can come through. It is the aspect of the empath, but it's also the aspect that when you're around negative people, when you're the empath, like attracts like when you're at a lower frequency. Now, unfortunately, for those feminines that have done the energetic work, what's going on now is your frequency has picked up, which you then energetically shift those that are at a lower frequency. It is like a magnetic effect. So for them, it's very traumatic to be within your frequency because you trigger them to have to raise their vibration. They can't stay at that lower vibration, but you are physically absorbing their negative energy because you are at that higher level, and then you've got to transmute it and flush it out. So it can feel very overwhelming, you know, to just pour that frequency out all the time, regardless of whether you are or aren't with them, because you do have the aspect of the connection. And how do I put it? You have the direct connection, your twins. On top of that, to other people in your life, you will be that receiver as well. And that would have been an ongoing thing. But because you've got stronger, it absorbs into you and it does feel like you're in shock. So when it's coming into you, it does feel very overwhelming and frightening. And it's a bit like going over a hill and your stomach goes up. So it's very much a very pull down energy with panic. And it is coming on very strong at the moment. So pay attention to that vibration. And when you're feeling really unhinged, try and take your shoes off, ground yourself down, and you know, to get that real grounding energy, and do some breathing exercises to transmute that out of you. Yeah, it's hard because a lot of it, Dale, isn't even your frequency. And that's the thing. Like, even when we choose, you know, a particular road, regardless of that, that's why I do say the frequency of that is a chosen path prior to coming here. So the direct connection of triggering is for your spiritual growth, very separate to each other, regardless of choice of what you wish to do. So the trigger that you both have is pushing yourself to the point where you're the best version of yourselves. Even if negative things directly have transpired, it's still jolting you in some 3D sense to physically pivot you towards your higher, best version of self, which I can, yeah, understand totally. Now, some of you may be having experiences of a high vibration soulmate. Now, those of you who are dealing with a high vibration soulmate, they can take on the frequency and the energy similar to twin. Now, when I'm saying that, some people do get very confused between who twin is. Regardless, don't get cooped up in it too much, because any person who directly comes into your life is there for a given reason. It was chosen prior to coming here, but their frequency is there to help you transform. So when you're going through the process, whatever counterpart was unable to do with you in connection, another person's frequency and energy is helping you evolve to that point. Now, at some point, you will be connected to a high vibration soulmate. This soulmate will hold energies similar to twin in a sense of triggering you to the point of raising your vibration and understanding you can have unconditional love. While you have that process, once you have reached a certain point, there will be a transformation. Now, there can be a tower moment in that frequency. It's because spiritually, it's about you. So it's not that you can't have a soulmate connection. You may have an out time to evolve further alone, because your vibration, due to the breaking of the connection within the twin journey, may have damaged you at some point by dropping you into a soulmate connection. And this can even be like kin or friendships. that helps transform your vibration so that you can do that last bit of the transformation with your frequency on your own. So some of you may have come into connection with a high vibration soulmate and then had conflict and separated. This is for that transformative period where we don't get into the old paradigms of feeling the aspect of the old codependent energy, okay? So where you have that energy with relationships, I would be surprised if you don't, to be quite honest. And the only reason I'm saying that is look back, Veronica, around March, between February, March, what transpired in your life, and then look back around June through to October, breakups and makeups and a synchronistic ongoingly in-out pattern with a connection. That will be the key sign if you physically have. A lot of the transformation of what we've been having has been very 360. So even last week I met somebody and it was just like, it just ticked all the boxes and it was very similar. The timing of those ins and outs. Some waves of twins this year may have been semi-okay last year. Then probably from the end of the year, something just didn't seem right. Then it came about February to March, there was a break. Now that break, some of you may be back in contact, but those of you who were back in contact were then removed again. Then a second stage of wave 2 was breaking up around June and October. Now, that was bound to come. That frequency was coming through. So all of us collectively were evolving to a point and dealing directly with the conflicts we needed to at a 3D level. Now, with what has transpired between the groups kind of separating in those pockets, how do I explain it? The lessons we're supposed to learn are being tied up in this Venus retrograde cycle. So with the retrograde, it's giving us an opportunity to look at everything in a 360. Now, when you look at the retrograde planets of what we've physically been through, it's almost like compiling that into the energy of Venus. Now, with that, we may have looked with the other planets about our self-esteem, our self-worth, our values, owning our power, what we needed, what we didn't, what needed fixing, and, you know, moving on a correct path. Now, by the time we've been knocked for 6, getting to this point where we are, how do I put it? Now looking at the Venus aspect. Click the button, guys, so then the video can be shared because other twins won't be able to find it. It's more for them than me. With the frequency of the Venus retrograde, it covers your finance. It covers how you are feeling within this connection, how much energy you're willing to put in, how much energy you did, and weighing up the pros and cons, as well as when you're looking at your future, even facing the aspects of the fairs. You know, do you feel comfortable in moving into a soulmate connection? Are you still in that frequency of lack or betrayal or fear that each person in your life is going to do that? You know, do you physically have that feeling that you can trust that aspect? Some twins have even got some old energies coming through, perhaps of, I don't know how to say this, harm occurring at childhood, you know, of a nature that was not appropriate. So because of that factor, a lot of old triggers, especially within the connections, have made you address certain blocks and areas that perhaps before weren't there, you know, weren't dealt with. They were under the surface, but you felt you were okay and you were moving through life. Does that make sense? Let's see what's coming up. But yeah, the energy with the masculines, it's like they're holding the feminine energy. And I told someone that today and they went, I'm not feminine. I went, no, I don't mean you're feminine. You're holding the aspect of the yin and yang, you know, one side at the moment. Now, feminines do have the balance of both. But while you're transmuting that frequency, what you're going to directly feel is slightly unhinged at points in your day or off, or perhaps even tied in frequency. That's happening because you're transmuting that frequency through you, but you need to get it out of you at the same time so you can hop up and move forward. Some roads are blocked at the moment. I mean, if I could say to you, be like a fly on the wall and see this year out, which is really quite practical to do right about now. If you want to know that the road in which you're going is very much going to be the one that is going to be correct for you. We do have an eclipse in January, which is going to affect us again. And again, March, we will be revisiting similar energies to what we did last March. So it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to affect us. Now, some of these energies are moving for us to evolve all the way through to 2020. That is because we're moving into the age of Aquarius and our frequencies are changing. A lot of old energies of what has transpired within your union you're reflecting over, but you're also looking at other spiritual connections you held, and some of you are dealing with energies of, how do I put it? Do I go back or do I go forward? If you know what I mean. Okay, let's see what's going on. Okay, many of the feminine energies are moving towards, and again, this is going to be confusing because this might be the masculine side. I would say it is. Okay, yes, it is. Okay, back on track again. Masculines are energetically looking at the frequency of knowing that they need to work with the team. They feel that some situations have been out of balance and they're looking at the team-related environment and they're trying to work out how this is going to work. This can be, some of them are looking at a current 3D situation that they're in and it feels there's no correct give and take. They may also be working with very close connections very privately to deal with some conflict and aspects that they have going on. Some of them are looking at work-related dynamics, but it feels that they're kind of being pulled in 3 different directions, okay? This is affecting their frequency to a point. They feel that no matter what path they're going to take, there's going to be a direct conflict, and they're really concerned. Those of them who had a third-party situation, they spiritually feel this week that that's in their mind. Also, they're considering aspects of trust connected to the person or connected to what has transpired, and they're meditating upon that. But because they've got direct conflict in their life right now, they're feeling very stuck in how to make it through without there being casualties. And it feels financial, family, job. It just feels very messy at the moment. Their emotions on top of that are feeling messy. So they're trying to bring it down to a very doable level because of all these things that have happened and how it's made them feel. They're really meditating upon what has transpired. So as that comes through in your mind, in a trigger point, and you feel you're reliving it like Groundhog Day, it's directly coming through them where it's popping up in their mind. They feel spiritually they've made this sacrifice being away from you. How do I put it? For those of you who feel that they chose somebody else, this is more for you guys. They knew that you wouldn't leave them. So the energy of what they did was not correct, but they did it in a way to remove you because they had too many things they needed to tie up and they were unable to do them in such a short space of time. In their 3D situation right now, they're having to make the sacrifice due to finances. Could be children, could be work, location, proximity. There's direct 3D blocks, okay? They also know that the road in which they walked towards was a very poor investment. So it's almost like they're punishing themselves by staying in it. Those of you who have had absolutely no contact, they're directly making no contact due to the fact they know that unless the 360 has occurred, they know it would make it worse than better. They are in great doubt connected to how they're going to make it through this situation and how they're going to address the area. They're trying to address what they physically can in their 3D situation. 5D wise, they're hopeful, but they're trying to be very grounded in a very 3D energy, and it's really fatiguing them. Okay, some of them are married. Some of them feel that they are in a connection. I'm hearing that some of them are wanting the connection with this path. They don't have the clarity connected to it, but they are nostalgic connected to what they did have before. And they feel they picked the incorrect path. Feminines, be very careful when it comes to any person helping you, whoever this may be. You're learning to take the balance back into your hands where you're not being manipulated. You're fighting a battle of your soul inside at times. And this is because when you spiritually are getting triggered and you're feeling like you want to go back over old energy, what is coming about is you're getting to a point you're being cautious who you accept help for, okay? So it's like you're really reading people's frequencies and energies. You're being cautious about how you take and how you give, and you don't want to be manipulated. So these healthy boundaries are giving you tests in the 3D, and you're passing them with flying colors. Some of you are trying to balance the finances and get everything done. Many of you are feeling like there is a clock, and that clock is really pushing you, and it's making you feel very nervous, okay? You need to pay attention to that. When the frequency of the old energy of third parties or, you know, children or interferences or any dynamic that directly caused conflict in it, flick that switch and turn it off and focus directly on your path. This is their energy. You're receiving it because they're processing it. So try and keep the healthy boundaries, but don't feel you've got to put yourself behind a fence. Try and also not to make any rash decisions. Try and make them very practical. Now, I know of the new moon, it is very much based on manifestation. Make sure you're at the correct frequency if you're going to manifest. Otherwise, I would really suggest you putting a board up where you can say money, 10 out of 10. You know, what love, 10 out of 10. Don't tune into the energy, because what you'll do is manifest the same, okay? So release that. Usually the full moon is released, but it's kind of swapped, the energy swapped. Just be very careful. That's what I'm being shown. Now, you feel in some shape or form connected to the situation. You're tired of the injustice. You feel there needs to be a balance. Some of you are very surprised that this situation hasn't transformed yet, that it has taken a lot longer than what you thought it would. Now, many who are in the second wave, some pockets have been on a very long journey. The others have been in it between 1 to 5 years. So there's sort of like 2 to 3 groups, right? We need to be mindful with this situation when we're getting triggered. There is a third wave. Now, the third wave, think of it, we didn't have any aha about this. Some of us till only recently. Imagine being a third wave, watching this shenanigan go on, and they're going, fuck that. I mean, it would really trigger them. We were none the wiser. We walked through that path. Now, the injustice may have happened, but we are more educated and we are going to be their guides in the future. So we need to step into that power. We need to try and support each other and try and keep as grounded as we can during the Venus retrograde. You know, the trigger points are terrible, but could you imagine being a third waver and directly looking and hearing people say, hey, I've been on my journey 14 years. I've been on my journey 25 years. It would be petrifying. Psychically speaking, you guys are on point. Follow your intuition. Your intuition is giving you downloads. If you're having trouble reading them, understanding them, book a reading. A lot of you can be seeing numbers. Now, some of you got to a point where it went cold. Now you're getting the downloads again, and they're going to start coming in hot and heavy. You need to pay attention to them. You need to understand and decipher what the messages are within it, because it's going to be very unique, connected to you. Also pay attention to your dreams, but you're intuitively feeling something's coming, something's coming. What you don't know, but it is a transformation in your personal life, and it's going to directly affect your personal life. Follow the signs. A lot of the downloads I've seen have been 717, 414, but very heavy 5s. Now 6s have started coming through as well, which is masculine energy. And definitely for some of you, I would say communication. Now, in some shape or form, there are blocks in the ego. This for some of you can be that your frequency is picking up, okay? Try and balance your chakras, because it can go in ebbs and flows. And I'm feeling there's a base chakra out for some of you. Try and meditate upon each chakra as you go through, and ask yourself the question, am I trusting within my intuition, or am I feeling unsafe in that frequency, that because of what happened in the past, I don't trust that my intuition can protect me in my life? Now, if that's a blockage, you need to work on that, and you need to use the frequency in the 3D to help you regain that intuition, to help you regain the trust within your own personal intuition. Because when that happens, it helps if you can do the work in that area, so that it's not another block in the wall to prevent you from having spiritual connections. A lot of you are very nostalgic regardless of the tower moments and the hurt, and that's what really is cheesing you off. It's like you're looking at it and you're thinking to yourself, I got burnt. I really got burnt, but I'm very nostalgic and I'm bored of the journey being the same way it's been. And you're looking at it and you had such high hopes of what it was going to look like, but many of you were even letting go of that aspect, which is healthy, because they're old energies of what was a story before. A new story of however that's going to be is not bad. When we say release, it's not release. How it fits in your life, it will directly mean something. If you don't feel the release is to let go of the control. But the boredom within your life at the moment, you're balancing things and you're trying to get life back on track so that you can have some fun. This year really hasn't been fun. I'm telling you, it hasn't been. I'm like, I look out the window, I'm like, I miss the sunshine. Okay, some of you are going to have a proposal. Now, this can either be from your twin or another person. There may also be for those of you that you are looking at a situation and thinking, what do I do here? It's almost like you're afraid to make the wrong decision. The one thing I will say is it's safer to choose after Venus retrograde, because you don't have all the information. It's a meditation time. If you do have direct contact with twin, you need to walk through it in a state of experience, not expectation, because your perception is going to change with any romantic connection, okay? If triggers are coming through in any 3D situation you're directly in right now, do not get triggered. It's temporary. It's a transformation. All of us collectively are transforming, and we need to, the only thing to comfort you is to look at yourself. Look at yourself, how you're transformed, and understand you didn't remain the same. Nothing ever stays the same forever. And hold faith in that transformation is part of the process. Click the like bell, please, and then I can answer some questions at the end. Okay, whatever is coming is definitely a change for the better. So, anything you've walked away from in the previous situation is going to be directly better than it was before, regardless of how you look at it. Energies and lessons have been learned. Okay. Some of you might be experiencing energies and frequencies of jealousy. Now, this jealousy can again be downloads from your counterpart. Some of it can be just, it's almost like those 7 stages of the emotions that you're feeling. It's like you're going through it in 2.5, and then it's like, wow, that was interesting. But it's trigger points, and it's like a very unnatural vibration that you're feeling. Some of you need to understand it may not be your frequency. Now, you feel overwhelmed. In some 3D sense, the decision making can be the overwhelming aspect. Climbing out of it and going, how? Some of you who are further back in the journey understand the connection to be so connected and energetic that you don't even know how that's even possible. And the fear connected to that aspect is like 50 tower moments. Others of you are looking at it like they're the devil in disguise. And you're going, who the hell have I married? Who the hell have I been in love with? Who is this person? Others of you are wondering, because of all you've seen over the years, can this frequency change? Go look in the mirror. Have you changed? As you've changed, it will change because your benchmark is different. And it's not saying that you're going to tell them, you're going to make them. That is their process. You need to trust in that process. The healthy boundaries and the choices you make means you're free to choose what your path is. So you're safe, but you need to feel safe in that energy. And if you're vibrating at that frequency of the anger connected to it, it does attract a same situation. So it's hard when you are moving through that transformative period, especially when we're in retrograde with Venus. It is in Scorpio and it can be very stinging. So that's towards ourselves and towards their frequency and others as well. Be careful around trigger points with communication this month. It can be very heated, moving towards the end of the month. The energy at the moment is very much, and many of you will be saying, no, it's not, nostalgic. But you're not nostalgic directly, all of you, towards how it's transpired, what's gone on. The nicer pockets of it, perhaps, soulmate connections, perhaps, but it's more the notion of what you had wanted in your mind and it just didn't transpire, and it's disheartening because you're looking at it and saying, what a bloody waste. The potential it physically had was massive. Okay, now they directly feel unstable when it comes to love, when it comes to the whole thing. You feel you were just ditched to the curb. They actually feel this as well, and it does go vice versa. They're coming out of that frequency. Yeah. Okay, they're coming out of that frequency, but the meditation is lack. That is part of the Venus retrograde. It's a temporary energy. Now, they're looking at the bigger picture and they're ambitious to get it off the ground and to show the world who they really are to the core, not directly connected to the, the benchmarks of what's transpired before, but the best version of themselves they can spiritually be. They have felt this spiritual transformation to be very draining, a lot of which has happened behind the scenes that you physically haven't seen. There has been a lot of emotional turmoil. There has been a great deal of loss within their life, and it has felt very tragic, very separate to your connection. Now, for you spiritually, you might be dealing again with the aspects of injustice, and it's really something that you're very much weighing up the pros and cons. Now, those of you who have Taurus, Libra, or Scorpio are going to be feeling these vibrations differently to the collective. It may be higher or lower depending on how much lessons you've learned and how you're flowing. If your counterpart is that rising sign, it's going to be knocking them for 6. For them spiritually, they're going to be having a fresh start. So what is moving through is a fresh start coming through. You still, however, are feeling exhausted because there's a lot of emotional burdens you're carrying. The emotional burdens can be the downloads from your masculine while he's having the transformation. So in a sense, you're receiving the frequency, they're doing the 3D work. Okay? So when you feel that frequency, understand they're transforming. If you don't feel it, it means they're doing nothing. So although it feels horrible, kind of hold Happiness connected to a knowing that a transformation is happening to the heart. Okay, between you energetically within your 3D life, both of you in your own individual lives have the tools spiritually to be able to handle any 3D situation that's coming up, be it of the heart, of a decision, or a path you're directly going to choose. Like I said, this is going to come in without warning. And this is why I say you need to follow your intuition. As the signs increase, many of you are in the ego, which come through in the card reading, that you believe, no, it's not going to happen. No, I've looked at the readings. This zodiac sign and that zodiac sign says they're coming. I haven't seen it. It's because you receive it before. Wouldn't be a reading if you got it on the day it was going to happen. You go, what did you do? Read the newspaper? Did you look at the weather and predict that? What is coming is the connection. Now, you guys are going to have, for some of you, 2 paths to choose. Because when it comes down to it, when you read the aspect of the twin flame journey, they say we come into duality, okay? Now, when you come into duality, you have balanced every aspect of masculine and feminine. You have dealt with the aspects of your triggers. No, you're not going to be a Buddhist monk. You're a human being, okay? The higher you come to ascension, many of us in this lifetime won't reach full ascension. If you were to, okay, you would probably pass over because you're that enlightened. There's no given reason in the 3D for you to learn any more lessons. So perfection is unattainable in the 3D. Your transformation and your vibrations of what you're feeling in the 3D, you shouldn't feel guilty towards, but knowing in which you move through that frequency, it's going to help you evolve to a point where you can handle your life. You don't want to stay in heavy 3D energy. You do need to have the balance of the 5D and the 3D. Having the balance of the masculine and the feminine means you can pull upon each energy as you need to, and you're very balanced within yourself. When it does come to duality within yourself, a lot of you already have reached that point, but you're transmuting masculine energy through as they're evolving. When you have reached the pinnacle of that point, and you have got to the point you've released the thought, you've released the hope, you have peace and tranquility towards them, it's the lack of expectation connected to it is when many roads open. And when those roads open, this is where they speak about having the choice. The choice for many will be that you have 2 to 3 suitors that will be asking for your hand, and it will be who you are directly spiritually connected to. If in fact you meet a high vibe soulmate for some of you, and your twin has completely transformed, that is going to be a very hard decision. That's probably worse than not being able to make a decision. Good luck. So trust your gut when it comes to the aspects of, you know, the frequency picking up, anticipating something's coming. It can be very frightening. Also, feminines, pay attention to your skin at the moment, the Ascension symptoms and the fatigue. It can be you're getting ulcers in your mouth. It can also be skin-related ailments, fatigue, lack of sleep. Some of you, it's almost like you're burning the midnight oil. Masculine energies are guided to speak to very close friends. It looks like that, but it's, yeah. From a medical term, yes, Heidi, but from an Ascension related there, it's not a, how would I put it? It's not like it was an ongoing condition. This is just an out of the blue kind of reaction within your skin, and it passes. That's more that. But if it was an ongoing thing, definitely go to the doctors. I ain't a doctor. Yeah, it's like you're tired, but then you're wide awake, and then you just can't sleep. But then you will have a crash and burn, and that's generally when it's removing the ego, and ego come through in feminine's reading, so that you're not directly assisting, getting triggered, Like when you're sick. When you're sick, you get to a point where you need the basics. The ego directly isn't involved. It's very rational. It's, hey, this is what I need, and that's the simple version of it. So you're going to make rational, real decisions. When the ego is like heightened, we can be, hey, we've done the work and we have this, we have that. So you're not coming from a very humble frequency of a truth frequency. It's more a triggered frequency. Yes. So sinuses, sore throat, again, communication. You're feeling you're unable to communicate your truth. Now, at some point, I am going to do posts perhaps on Twitter, but I will be making a few videos over Christmas and New Year's while I'm on holiday, connected to the chakras and how to work with them, but I'm going to do them connected to children as well, but more from a creative point of view, but it's going to be for parents to use to help them learn how to communicate, and noting where the energies are coming from, and helping your children be aware of their body. When I'm saying be aware of their body, be it they've got a headache, be it they've got a lower backache, and pay attention to it. Don't just go and get the medicine and, you know, yes, okay, however you feel fit, but paying attention to areas and chakras, and then letting them explain to you how they're feeling, why they're feeling it. The communication is then transmuting what they're feeling to help them spiritually evolve. You know, a lot of the things that we do these days were very taboo in my childhood, and there was nobody spiritually I could speak to as my psychic gift was evolving. So if we can be mindful to be open-minded with that, it's going to assist your children growing. And I think really within the twin flame journey, when you do look at the energies and the frequencies of our childhood directly impacting our relationships, I'm already seeing frequencies within teen connections, and I can already see that pattern forming, and it's really sad that in this day and age that we're not aware of that it starts so very young. So, you know, if we can be mindful that we're not training to already sabotage before we've got there, assisting the children that you have, you know, to understand how life is, as well as giving them the tools to deal with it without taking their power away. Anyone else need to click the bell? Any questions? Yeah. Yeah, look, I'm all for being aware, but I'm also for being to the point where I think sometimes we can micromanage our spiritual growth a bit too much, and we do need to lighten up. You know, be that, especially when we're doing the work, we're moving our career forward, we're psychoanalyzing our frequencies and our energies. Hey, what stage am I at? 1 to 7 in the healing process, you know, and when you're going through that, sometimes you just got to shake it off. You know, if we were to look at the psychology, you know, and do all of that at all times, it would almost become that we are not okay with the 3D vibration of just being human and experiencing emotions. I mean, I think the most wonderful thing is we do feel pain, and that's because it tells us we're alive. So if we were to only have great things, we would not be humble beings, and we wouldn't be grateful for it. So even within sadness, it's love, because we're the pining and the longing perhaps for that energy is as connected as first meeting and spiritually connecting with someone. It's the butterflies. It's just the other side of it. There's two sides of love. There's the hurt and there's the deep, passionate connection, but they're all the same. They're all love. Sorry. Yeah, I think we go through stages. A lot of us have gone into hermit mode and unintentionally. And some of it, when we do look at it, anything connected to our jobs or, you know, our life, really what we've been given has been a frequency of thank God we've had the life the way it was so we can cope. And many feminines have been feeling like, how do I wake up in the morning and go and do the job? Yeah, it's been an absolute blessing in disguise because you keep going because you have to. Masculines, however, have felt that their power was completely taken away from them. So a lot of triggers in the way they directly related to you was due to the fact that they had their spiritual powers stripped from them. So in taking that back, plus the fatigue, we've been through that ourselves, it has been very taxing connected to them. And that's fine. What is the 5D work is still aligned to the 3D and money? 5D is the spiritual connection, you know, knowing and not allowing the ego to directly impact what you truthfully know, okay? Now, I know intuitively when I met my twin, a lot of people would say to me, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I was like, it is. It's going to happen. And they were like, no. And I went, it's going to happen. I know this person. And they would always say the same thing. And, you know, even in my life in general, if I have a higher knowing, I have a higher knowing and I trust it, okay? So moving through that is simple. Can you tell me if he is my twin flame soulmate? I never like telling a person that. I can tell you, though, how you can tell yourself. Now, I have a few people that have ended up being friends, but they were a client initially. And they went to a reader and the reader said, listened, took the money, all the rest of it, and then told her that she wasn't a twin. Healthy that that happened, because if I told you you weren't a twin, you wouldn't believe me anyway. That's one sign. You know through and through who your twin is. It is a very deep spiritual connection, and you can have your family tell you what the hell are you doing, you deserve better. You can have them treating you a particular way, and if with any other connection you're quite happy to leave or you know, own your power and all the rest of it, but with this one individual, it's very, very different frequency. They can do things to you that perhaps if anyone else did, you would have got to a point that you would, again, just not tolerated it. Thank you. Also, a spiritual connection in a sense of vibrations, whereas with my twin, if he was having conflict on the day, this was probably last year, I would be doing a Skype call with a client and I would say, I'm going to hear from my twin. He's had a run-in with his karmic. And he would call me direct. He'd keep calling me during, and it was like I couldn't answer, obviously. He'd call me and I said, what's she done? And he goes, oh, well, she did this, this, and this, because you have that knowing of what's going on, okay? You get the vibration, but the closer it is, some of you who haven't had that intimate connection, don't get triggered by that. You're actually bloody lucky, because it does take it to a different level, but not at a good level. It takes it to a very heavy download where you feel the vibrations of everything. It's very, very frustrating. Yeah. So another, how else can you tell? It is different to any other connection. Who has been on your mind the most this year? It will be one particular person who never leaves your mind, no matter who you're with. And it's like a plague. When you evolve, that can change, but during the process, it's like, how did I explain it? I mean, many of you will feel it's like an addiction, but it's not. It's this fearful energy that, you know, you're concerned for them. You get the downloads as well. You see synchronicities. You're a dag. You get the synchronicities. You can see numbers. You may see their name on signs. Yeah, plague. Yeah, you do. You think, gosh, you know, maybe I should go get some therapy, and then you move along with your life. Many do, and then it comes back again, and you go, fuck. It's like, oh. Yeah. A lot of people from the past are coming back. Yeah, no shit. Unbelievable forgiveness. Fucking bastards. No. Understanding towards their life. I mean, a lot of the stuff we don't even know what's going on in their life, so. Why is that, M girl? It's like you are them every day and saying goodnight. Yeah, pretty much. And that's why I laugh when I see the third party card. It's like bloody hell when you look at it through the journey. You've probably been in the third. They deem it as a spiritual connection. That is always. So you could be like 50 years in a bloody marriage and you're spiritually connected there, and it's like an umbilical cord, and it's quite frustrating. Will you have communication at the moment? There is a close chance. It feels closer, I'll say that. But, you know, he's not quite grounded at the moment. Ah, Sim in the Sky. You actually picked them. I was laughing about that the other day. I said to Giggle, I said, damn, man, I picked well. She's a bitch. I was like, fuck yeah. Hey, look, I've had a holiday. I mean, it's been peaceful. Then I realised how much I'm growing, and then I did need to grow, and I did realise that for me personally. There was a lot of things for me within my own 3D life that I really did need to transform. So in doing that, that's okay. In doing that, I needed to have that transformation within my life, and there were a lot of things that, you know, I needed to do connected to my business, my future, my wounds. So it's been a benefit. Then forget about it, Death Child. Get ready for a soulmate. Which is very natural. It's part of the spiritual process within the twin flame journey. Yes, I have peaceful days, and then I have the downloads connected to that, and I'm like, oh, fuck, what are you going through? Yeah, and then you go back out in the real world and you come home and you're exhausted. You're like, oh, the sunshine, and then you come home, oh, I'm so tired. You have to be very mindful of that, especially when you've been in hermit mode for a while. You find when you do go out, you're absorbing a lot of energy, and then you're like, oh, just really tiring. So I do have the mid-month videos ready. They are per element, obviously, you know, because I do a lot of bookings behind the scenes as well with my clients. I did want to give Alison a shout out as well. I did forget to actually say thank you to her as well. She's given me referrals. Stefan, yes, as soon as I can, you are there. I will do yours via Messenger if you want. I haven't forgotten you. Don't worry. You got me on Messenger anyway. You'd find me. Twin flame video, yes. Yeah, true. One more question. There won't be movement really for many of us till the end of the year. When you look at the energy of the frequency, go listen to the Leo King. A lot of it this year has been, I mean, I pity anybody who's in a connection right now. Whoever's going through an awakening while in a relationship, that is like having a mental breakdown with your partner having a mental breakdown at the same time and hoping to God the ship's going to stay afloat. It's just insanity. I mean, you think about it. You're twins. If both of you are going loco at the same time because you're going through a spiritual transformation, who's Wilbur? I'm just going to say, like, who's holding who afloat? You're both sinking. So you're sinking, okay? Start swimming. So make it to the transformation. Look, it's not even me telling you you're not going to have the connection. It's literally this entire year has been retrograde. It is a number 1 year. It is about us transforming. So try not to get triggered. Oh my God, this isn't happening. This is a mental process. This is a 3D process. This is a spiritual 5D process that we're all undergoing. And it is to get us to a point where we'll have healthier boundaries. We'll be spiritually evolved. We'll be ready with the tools to tackle any challenges we have. And we're going to be, our intuition will be on point. You know, we'll be more open to connections. Reunion will happen with you first. Once that happens and you're all okay and have absolutely no needs connected to anyone, it's connected to a loved one passed over, I believe. Yeah, when you have that connection to yourself and you're okay and you totally have released. And I mean, to the point you think love in your heart and your base chakra, but as long as you know that you're safe and they're happy, it's like even a peaceful energy towards them. To a point you just focus directly on the energy. When I'm getting very triggered, how booked up are you this week? I don't know. I haven't looked at the app, but there is a special on for October. So grab it while you can because it is very cheap. I have put the UK USD dollars in the information box, so read that, and the Australian ones there. And I have discounted the telephone readings as well for Australia, you know, so that the connections can be there. So there's discounts for October, Christmas, and New Year, because those 2 points at the end of the year will really fill up quickly. So if you don't book in beforehand, I do have a large clientele basis. They book monthly. So the larger the channel grows, the more the clientele builds up. So if you get in, you're ahead. You're not going to get jammed out. Otherwise, there's emergency bookings that are purchasable during that break if you have any tower moments. Not at all. You always follow your intuition of what you feel. If you feel you need to communicate and you might have had some downloads, look, I cover anything from a reading to helping you understand your dreams, to deal with your blocks. If loved ones come through, I will deal with that, especially if they've got any energetic messages that need to come through to you. So sometimes we won't need the cards at all. Sometimes it'll be communication to help get you grounded. So it depends on the need you have at that time. Any other questions? Yeah. The thing is, realistically speaking, the more you understand the twin flame path, you can't sabotage it. Yes, I can. If they're to come through, then they do come through. There is a female figure around you. She might have been a friend, a female figure. She went too early. Yes, you. Yeah, I love hanging out with you too, Femme Coach. Go and check out Femme Coach's channel. It's very pretty. Also, there's Kimberly and there's Mark. I love Mark. I'm going to do a live session with him at some stage. I mean, I think the two of us together on a live podcast would be hilarious. We just get into all sorts of trouble. All sorts of trouble. Anything directly connected to a passionate venture, don't jump right now. You find because it's Venus, even passion towards maybe movement or big decisions, or delay till the end of the year. I would try and delay it. It's horrible because a lot of us are really wanting that forward motion, but we're looking at it going, how can we? It's really a bad time right now. We can't. Thank you. Now, I better get off here because look at the time frame and people will look at the video later and go, over an hour? Hell no. Anyway, stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Hopefully, if you click the bell and you want to be part of the tribe, you'll get notifications and you might be in the running to win free readings. Anytime, Death card, look after yourself, okay? Keep grounded. Bye, guys.